Ladies and gentlemen, big welcome from all over the world for another session of VHH 3.0 Happy Hour Country presentation. Today, it's a big honor for me to introduce you to Zintra from Latvia, and she is going to tell you more about the alphabet of her country. Zintra, the stage is yours.
Okay, so let's start. First things first, I will try to teach you one sound that everybody's struggling with. So it's the first sound of my name, which is Z or Zintra, and I tried several versions of it. And then a couple of days ago, I come up with a new one, which I would like to try with you guys. So it's, can you say Godzilla?
Godzilla.
Yes, because in the middle of a name is exactly the sound that you have to make at the beginning of mine.
Zintra.
Now, Zintra means Godzilla is, but the sound is there. So that's the one that everybody's struggling with. But somehow they managed to do that in the word of Godzilla. So I was just thinking maybe that helps a bit.
Because I think the challenge is Zilla is easier to pronounce than Zintra, because I think this TR is a tougher letter than the L. Zilla.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, that's something. We'll see further down. I just was wondering if you can see the screen then.
We can.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I try to write down at least a couple of ways how our country is spelled. So there's probably a lot more. But yeah, we call ourselves Latvia, so the second word there. So I just try and start there. So what I did is try to base the presentation on the things that I like about my country or I'm interested in. So it's not going to be a history lesson or anything like that, but it's just an information what I enjoy doing there, and maybe you would enjoy if you visit it. Okay, so the first things first, on the right top side, you can see the Latvian alphabet.
Can you click on the hide button? It says Teams Microsoft stop sharing hide. Yeah.
This, okay. All right, so as you can see, there's quite a few letters that you can't find in other languages. The ones in the bracket are not used anymore in an unofficial language, but they still are used in the parts of Latvia, like sound R, which is soft R. And together at the moment we have 33 letters, so I'm going to have 33 slides. And the first letter is A, and it's A in Latvian, and I wanted to tell you about what it's called Aerodium. It's a Latvian company, Latvian-based one, that creates wind tunnels. So basically what they take is as an engine from the airplane, and it allows you to fly. They did a show in Torino in Olympic Games, as you can see there in the slide picture and above. So that's actually a friend of mine flying there above the Olympic Stadium. And then, yeah, I included the YouTube videos as well. I mean, it's impressive. I have tried it twice. So it's not that easy as it looks, because you have to figure out how to balance yourself. But you can do quite a lot of tricks, and they do this and use this also for training the parachute jumps and things like that. So there are several places to do that in Latvia. You can do it outside or in the house. There's depending on the weather conditions, because if you go out on outside one in a stronger wind, you could be actually blown away. But it's quite a lot of fun.
That's something we can do. Actually, our German colleagues could do this, because a friend of mine manages such a place actually in Bochum.
Okay.
So all the German IPS people could go there actually if we want to. It's great.
Where is that, Christian?
Inside in Bochum.
In Bochum, that I know Bochum University City. Bochum, yeah, there's a university there, I think. But yeah, it's nice to hear. I mean, they like Rodium. I know that they operate in a lot of countries, so it could be the same guys. But yeah, I'm just telling you that in Latvia, it's quite a good fun to do if you visit.
And it seems like, did you say that this is jet engines that they use for this?
Yeah, they use the I think it's called the from airplanes. Is it an engine? Yeah, I think so. The round thingy on the wings. I'm sorry, I'm missing the word. So yes, and they put it vertically up, and then there is a cover on top so that you don't fall in, and then yeah, that's how it's built.
A different bird strike if you fall in.
Yeah.
But that must be a hell of a noise then. I mean, it's not the type of hobby or part-time activity that you do when you want to have a tete-a-tete and a meaningful conversation with your girlfriend.
Well, no, I guess not.
But it's possible to do it also in a tandem. So you can already a little bit tasting how you are fitting together. Are you harmonizing? Are you competing and so on? So.
Usually you don't do it in tandem, at least when you do it on the first times, whatever, you get instructor, but they're good looking instructors, so.
And I see.
So then you want to be a little more physical and less talkative.
Yeah, I see the hand of the instructor is at the hip and at the arm and so on. So he's giving some assistance.
Yes, because otherwise you just kind of, first things you can't get really up because you can't get yourself in the right pose. So you have to be like kind of positioning yourself horizontally a bit. So, and then otherwise you can go like in a spin mode and things like that. So it's not that easy as it looks. Like the stuff that they do in Olympic Games, that's like a hardcore. It's hard, like to have it static and look like you're actually flying. So.
I just looked it up. I need to apologize. It's not Bochum, it's Bottrop. Sorry.
Okay.
Things that start with BO.
Well, definitely would try that if it's available for you. It's a good fun to try. Okay, next one. It's atrum, so it's sorry, I forgot the English translation. It's speed. So we are probably one of the countries that is mostly invested in things like skeleton, bobsled, and other winter sports, basically, because of the location. Sorry,
I think it's just the echo of me cutting the beans.
Okay, so we are kind of invested in winter sports. So when you, I don't know, drive in a public transport, you will hear 14-year-old girls talking about hockey and 70-year-old ladies talking about bobsled and things like that. It's just normal. This is our biathlon or something like that. That's our type of sport. But this is also something that I wanted to tell you about. So one of the best bobsled and skeleton, how's it called? The slides down is actually in Sigulda in Latvia. So you can go there and you can try out riding down in a bobsled, the real one, or if you're with kids, like there's a soft version. So you basically are packed in a soft sled and taking down the rail. So it's again a fun activity to do. There are crazy people who do that actually with actual skates on their feet, but that one is strictly illegal and I wouldn't advise it.
If you were my mother, I would say that's exactly what we want to do now. But since you're a colleague and we're the same age, I take it as face value and we shouldn't do it. Well,
yeah, I've done crazy shit sometimes, but this one is kind of no. But I've tried the bobsled one, not this the real competition one, but the one in the soft shell, and it's fucking fast. So you should try that one as well. So the next one letter is B, which is Balts, which is how our Baltic tribes call themselves. And we are actually calling them ourselves white. So rest of the people have never been white people. We are the only ones.
How do you call us then? We are gray people?
Well, how to say? We call Germans Waziische, which apparently comes from the word VHH, which basically means the person who can't speak properly.
Okay. Good to know.
Well, it's a rude way of saying it. So, but this is how we still call you guys, just a bit better form.
Yeah, the Italians call us Cookie, the French call us Bosch. So it's okay. We have our nicknames. It's on the other hand a motivation to convince people that we are also nice people.
Yeah, well, actually, Germany and Latvian is Vācija, and Germans are Vācieši, so we never actually consider you Germanic. So, but yeah, overall, I just wanted to show you why your sea is called Baltic Sea, which means White Sea, because the Baltic territories were deep into the German territories now, meaning, like, for example, Prussia, what you call Prussia, it used to be Old Prussian territory, which is a Baltic tribe.
So also
Sorry?
Also including Berlin, because I think it's also covering Berlin area, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was one of the biggest empires of that time.
Wow.
Well, I think
I love our Virtual Happy Hour 3.0. It's such a learning. I never had this at school, unfortunately.
Yeah, well,
so thank you for that.
I think that will be covered in a Lithuanian part, but Lithuanian Polish Commonwealth was the biggest empire of Europe, so.
Bloody hell, when was that?
Yeah, well, you know, this is how the greatness goes. We are left very small nations by the Baltic Sea, but I mean,
when was it, Sindra? You said that the Lithuanian Polish Empire was the biggest.
Yeah, I think 15th, 16th century. You can look it up. I don't remember correctly or in details. I think it was 15th, 16th century. Yes.
It's funny how in, at least maybe I may have been on sick leave that time in history class at school, but it's funny how certain elements are like always. I mean, even history is always seen through the lens of the respective country in which you grow up.
Oh, this is why I didn't want to touch much of the history of Latvia, because given the fact that I was raised in USSR and went to school then, and then there was freedom, and then after that we looked at the lens of a bit more clearer mind and not just gray, we're free. I have learned at least 3 versions of history. So I just don't trust anything that I'm being told about.
There was a connection actually with Germany during the Hanse days. I think Latvia was a Hanse city. You know, they were trading in North and East Sea.
Yes, for sure. Actually,
here's the boy who paid attention in history class.
Well, tour in history.
Oh, you know what? That's why you ended up selling cargo, because you were always interested in carrying goods from one place to the other.
But let's say we had German overlords for 700 years. Yep. we have really a lot of common history, and also we use a lot of, depending on which part of the Latvia you're coming and what influence you were having, like more Russian or German. Depending on that, your language changes a bit too. Like my grandmother still used words like šūplāde, which is šūplāde, whereas normal Latvian word is atvilkne, but it means the same in German and Latvian. So there are some things that I can easily pick up in German because of the historical connection to it. And there were actually quite a lot of they call it Baltvācieši, so Balt Germans who actually fled Latvia after First World War or before it. So there's a huge group of people that actually left that were part Germans, part Balts. Okay, part Latvians. Okay, then the next.
Okay,
So,
in the Middle Ages were also the Templars actually in Latvia. They say part of the Templars' treasure is hidden in Riga, isn't it?
Yes, there's actually, I think we were the only nation in the world that was actually ever taken by the monks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, the Templars were the ones that came in, built quite a lot of castles, and basically set up this as a country slowly. There's duchies and things like that. Before that, it was a tribes land, meaning we had like Semigallians and Courlandians and Livonians. So the Baltic tribes, there were quite a few of those, and they came and basically, yeah, well, they ruled us for 700 years, meaning they were. It was not like we were slaves as such. I mean, people still owned their houses, but they had to always pay to the duchy, whatever part of their income, things like that, and go and work for the king of the area. So, yeah. Now, C. It's or C. Central Tirgus, which means central market. It's one of my favorite places in Riga. And when I'm going there to visit my relatives, I always at least spend one day there. So it's unbelievably big. It's 75,000 square meters. It's located in 5 big Zeppelin hangars. So basically what it was, there were Zeppelins in Latvia that were flying, and after they stopped using them, they moved those Zeppelin hangars there to this place where it is, and built a market in them. So each Zeppelin hangar has its own produce that's being sold there. So there's meat, there's dairy, there's fruit, there's bread and like grains and stuff, and then the last one is fish. So they're unbelievably big. They're full of like each stall there is a company or the person that is selling. So it's not like it's organized like a supermarket, but each one of them have like selling parts. And then outside of the hangars, there's a huge area that is open air market, and then there also at nighttime for the lower price, the local ones that can't afford to sell there during the time, they drive in with cars, and you can go and buy produce cheaper during the night. So it's called a night market. But
did you say these hangars were previously elsewhere, and they moved the hangars and then
yes,
repurposed the hangars?
Yes.
Or did they just repurpose?
No, they were moved to there.
Well, that in itself was a bit of a crazy idea to start with.
Well, yeah, but it's very central located. It's next to the old town now. You just go under the railroad bridge, and you're there. So it's very, very central, and it's one of the things that people love to do. Like I pick up my sisters and this is what we call it Ladies' Day, and we go there and we buy stuff that we like to eat and just snack in the little bars there, talking with people. And I have my own favorite place where to buy meat, where you just kind of hang out there and talk with people, which is something that I think market's all about.
Yeah.
It's not. Sorry.
And how
But it
fitting that
reminds
I'm
me a bit
eating the
the
beef.
story that the guy, an architect, was thinking about to make use of all the unused Boeing 737 MAX tubes to create a housing for people who have no houses in Los Angeles and elsewhere. So that reminds me a bit the concept that you're making use of a hangar to create a market.
Also, there is an absolute beautiful house in Los Angeles built out of a 747 wing as roof.
Yeah, it's just during Soviet times, it was like, you know, that the individual commerciant was not really something that was kind of allowed. So the central market was the only place where you were basically, and other small markets around Riga. This is not the only one that we have. The only place where if you had enough money, you could actually buy stuff from the individual persons, like people that grow stuff at home and things. But it's, of course, it was especially during the time when the food was scarce and there was balance system and everything. Then it was kind of something you really needed a lot of money to be able to buy something there. And still people did for special occasions, like because the chicken didn't look like it died a natural death, as most of the stuff did look in the shops.
And seeing the letter C, I'm also welcoming our guest from Canada, Christine.
Christine with a K from Canada with a C.
Exactly.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay, so let's go to the next one, which is letter Ch. So chuks would be the word, and it means whisper. So overall, Latvians like to keep their silence, mainly in buses and public places. People even talking on a phone would be considered quite rude, unless like it's a very quick conversation, I'll call you back or something like that. Like you would never see people on like here on subway, whatever, like or S-Bahn, sorry, that have like proper conversations and talk on a phone. This is something that Latvians would be starting to look at you very condescending way. And consider that, come on, this is just wrong. But we are not always very quiet, especially when we start drinking. Then there's going to be singing, there's going to be loud noise, and there can be quite explosive situations where people are happy and laughing together one moment, and then moving to the complete, like, are you up to making jokes of me, and a bit of fighting. But we're trying to usually be considerate around other people when it's about noise. Okay, next one, it's D. And here you see dzintars. As you have maybe noticed, it's the same as my name. So actually my name is Amber, but just a feminized version of a name. And Dziesmu un Deju Svētki, which is folk song and dance festival. This is why I chose these two on the letter. So there has been, like, I'm don't even know how many thousand years ago, we have been the selling country, or one of the selling countries of amber. And there has been amber route all the way to the Greece and all the way up to Egypt and other places, because it was one of our biggest export things in ancient times. So when we are talking about our land or our place, and we kind of, it's Dzintarjūra, so it's amber sea. This is how we would call it. Of course, we can call it Baltijas Jūra, which is the official name of it. but Ambersee is or Zintarjūra is kind of loving name or like something. Yeah, where are you by Ambersee? And then this is the other thing, Folk Song and Dance Festival. It's really, really close to my heart. So we have been doing this for over 120 years now. So every 5 years we have like Folk Song and Dance Olympics, let's call it that way. So there's for a nation of less than 2 million people, having 20,000 dancers taking part and 15,000 singers singing in one chorus. It's quite a big event. So every 5 years, for 5 years, you train your new dances, your new songs, or the old songs, and of course generations change as well. It's something that is really, really important for us. So everyone in the school usually either dance or sing or both. And then, yeah, starting from 18 years old, usually we take part in this festival. And every 5 other years, so in between there's a children's one of the same scale. So we kind of are used to making these grand events, even if we are a small nation. So, and as I said, it has been happening now for 120 years. So I have been taking part in every one of them as a dancer since I was 3.
Since you were 3?
Yes.
So
I started dancing when I was 2.
That's remarkable.
And that gives me an idea for
Song
another
contest is
evolution
something
of
that you laugh about.
we are jointly dancing together.
Dancing for sure. So
I'm a little
yeah.
nervous if someone has been dancing from the age of 3. How that looks like when you and me, Daniel and Christian, will be joining. Well, I'm not sure your Latin hips would still be considered Latin.
Oh, come on, everybody can dance. If they can walk, they can dance.
Cook.
You know, breakdance was also called dance, and it was not looking very, let's say, it was a break dance. So
probably you can break something dancing like that. So yeah, on the picture on the left, so that's the chorus. As you can see, all those little dots, they are human beings, but this is a children's one, so that's why it's decorated like that. We actually just finished this, rebuilding this place where they're singing. There's where you're standing on. So now it has a completely new and modern design, because the festival was supposed to happen, like the children's festival was supposed to happen this year, but unfortunately, of course, it had to be canceled because no one wanted to risk children's lives for something like that. And on the right side, this is just something that we do. So you actually dance dances, but it's on a football stadium, so you understand the scale. And yeah, there's you kind of make beautiful signs and still do the dancing and everything. The dance style, how to explain it? It can vary in a complexity level from the simple, which everybody can dance in a house party, so it's an easy thing, and to something that I did, which is a folk ballet, basically. So depending on how and which group you belong to, there's a fierce competition even to be part of this event during dances, because you have to pass a certain level that you're allowed to dance. Okay. Now, the next one, which is Egle, which is a Christmas tree. And this is something that, oh my gosh, I think us and Estonians, yeah, we still fight which one was the first, but it's actually the decorating of the Christmas tree comes from Riga, where the first Christmas tree was recorded to be there at 1510. And it's usually presented in the same way still till nowadays. And yeah, the other thing, as we're talking about trees, yeah, Latvians like to go foraging in forests. So if you go to the forest and you see people running around with knives, you don't have to be worried about it. It's actually quite a fun story because I used to have a boyfriend, which one was from Australia, but he was Latvian. So he was telling me a story about visiting his relatives in Latvia for the first time, and he didn't know much of Latvian language or anything. And it was in countryside, and in the morning, they woke up him at 6 o'clock because that's how you go collecting mushrooms before anyone else goes and collects them for you. Took him to the forest in the car, made him get out of the car and took the knives in their hands. So he was pretty fucking scared.
But I didn't know that we are having at Christmas something which comes from the Balts. Interesting.
Yeah, well, this is an old pagan tradition because the traditional way of decorating the house was to take evergreens, because we never call it Christmas, we call it the Winterfest. So we are having a pagan fest of the longest night and the shortest day, and for being like evergreens are like or Egla or Christmas tree was something that, okay, the times are changing and it's going to be green again, and the houses were always decorated with them, slowly moving into having a Christmas tree. Okay, I'm not used to talk to this much. Okay, the next one is erglis or egg. So we are a bit weird about the birds. So we kind of are stalking them. So there's a special stream from the bird's nest. So this one is from the eagle. It's like some small spotted eagle. It's one of the biggest birds biggest bird in Latvia. So basically what you do is you go to this website, you click on it, and then you can watch them feed their youngs. We name them. They're coming back every year. When they come back, everybody's very happy. It's on the news. There's interview, not with the bird, but about this, how they're settling in and things like that. And when they move away to the Africa, then because they're chipped, every day we get an update how far they're getting.
What is that? ACARS messages?
No, they're really like, okay, the Milda has gotten to this point in Europe, and we are taking like, oh my gosh, it's lost, is it dead, will it come back? And it's an actual news item in Latvia. So we are kind of bad stalkers, I would say. But it's actually quite relaxing because of all the sounds of the forest and stuff. You can just click on the link, and there's video. You stream it, and it's something that you can put in your house, and it's like calming sounds as well, not just the video. So, and it's interesting to watch birds in their natural habitat, especially when the young ones are coming out, and it's good. Okay, next one, F. But this one I have struggled because F is something that we use mostly for the words that are not Latvian, so it's not a naturally Latvian sound. But frikadellen soup, I think this is something that...
No, but sorry, Sindra, it's not frikadellen, it's buletten. It means buletten soup.
No, only in Berlin.
Oh, Daniel, this is...
God, buletten soup cannot be frikadellen soup. In Berlin, we say bulette, not frikadelle.
Well, it's frikadelle in Latvian, so
You just explain me the Balts were also in Berlin. We Berliners, we say bulette. How come that you are using this word from Hamburg? I don't understand this.
This is not Hamburg, this is all over Germany.
From the Hamburg people.
Yeah, but sorry, the Balts were not covering Hamburg. So come on, you have to go to your president. It needs to be renamed in bulette.
It could be that I have to check. Actually, I have like a cookbooks from one of my hobbies is cooking. So I have like 120 cookbook collection at least. So there are really, really old ones. I can check how it's called in the old books because maybe it's just modern version that we use now.
Maybe a translation mistake. Maybe it's boletten soup, but it's difficult to pronounce. That's why you're using frikadellen soup.
Maybe it's köttbullar. Maybe it's Swedish and it was köttbullar soup.
Well, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I was trying to find something to tell you about that F. So it's
But it looks nice. I need to try that.
So yeah, it's I can give you a recipe if you want to, and
the bread looks delicious.
Hey,
yeah.
Marco, we can cook it on the virtual happy hour, the soup.
Yes, and I would like to have a nice slice of this brown or dark bread with cold butter.
Yeah, well, if you're in living in Germany, there's Russian shop where you can try to get it, but mostly as Latvians are getting like a real abstinence from these types of bread, which is like basis of our bread. We usually use this one, and it's with cumin seeds, which is a cumin.
Nice.
And stuff like that in it, so it's really, really aromatic bread, yeah, like we get it delivered from Latvia. So there's a Latvian society here in Frankfurt. Basically, everybody just writes down what they want, and then there's a car coming on a regular basis to bring us the Latvian produce.
And is it made with yeast or is it sourdough?
No, it's a rye bread, but it's made in a very old-fashioned way. So there's no yeast as such. You have this 3-day process of baking it. So first you take flour, you add water, and then you let it. It's called ieraugs in Latin. I don't know how to translate it. You leave it grow. The bacteria grow there for 3 days, and then you use it to break bread. And then that's for the first time. And then for the next time, you keep part of the bread that you made, and then use it next time to make the next batch of bread. You have to feed it and stuff. It's something. It's just like something alive that you keep at home. Yeah, but as I said, this is something that I order on a regular basis from home. And then overall on food, Latvians are foodies. One of the things that is always when I'm traveling around is that people eat when they walk. When you go to Latvia, hello? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, there was some sound.
People eat while they walk, not in Latvia.
No, people consider this like, or not consider, there's no such concept as a street food. Well, there is, but there will still be chairs to sit down. So we would never consider like dinner or lunch, whatever. It's an hour. You sit down, you eat, and you enjoy, and you talk with people. And it's not about eating in a hurry. World can wait. Food is important. So for us, like when you see these American movies of the food fights or something that's so against our nature that I always I have like hair on my body standing up. It's just like, how could you do that? So for us, food is really, really important. You sit down and you have a nice time. Even drinking coffee, it's not like we will have a shot of espresso and run further. You sit down and you have like a Danish pastry with it. It's a process. So that's how we deal with things. And then here on the left side, that's something very traditional. It's gray peas, not beans, it's peas. It's a special product that even Lithuanians, which are a brother nation, doesn't use. But it's really tasty. It tastes more like beans, and then you put on top of it what my family call crickets, but basically it's onions and bacon that's baked till they're crispy, and then you drink kefir or sour milk with it, or you would call it buttermilk, but without no taste. No, not sweet, but this plain version. And that's something that is also used for our Winterfest or Christmas traditions as one of the main meals, and you have to eat all of them, otherwise you will have to cry next year. So yeah, this is just a couple of food items. Okay, next one, it's geilis or g. It's a rooster. Those ones from Germany here know that Germans have it the same way, but we don't have crosses on our churches, never had them. We just have roosters. And here in Germany, I can see that sometimes it's used as well. So there you have a bit of connection between Germany and Latvia. Actually, we don't have just roosters. There's a house in Old Riga, and then there was next to that house, like he was a really rich man from the trade unit, but he was not allowed to be in Hansa because he was Latvian and not German. So he actually built this huge house next to the Hansa meeting place in Old Town, and put 2 cats on the roof that both showed access to the Hansa meeting place. So it's Latvians a bit passive aggressive, let's call it that way. Okay, next one. So Ģerbonis, or coat of arms. So that's a coat of arms of Latvia. And then, the usually ones they use is a shield form, but given our complex history with Germans and other nations like Swedish and Polish and whoever decided to invade us time after time, we just kind of said that we don't care, we just do it our own thing. And then on the left side, the lion, it's a symbol of Duchy of Courland. And the right side is a Livonia, which are like representing the districts of Latvia. And then they're 3 districts, which is Courland. And Livonia consists of 2, which is Vidzeme and Latgale. And then like the sun represents 19 administrative parts. It was designed in the first Republic time. And then there are the 3 stars, the 3 districts. And actually on Duchy of Courland, it's the smallest, not a Commonwealth, well, the smallest country, let's call it that way, that has ever had colonies in the world. We owned Trinidad and Tobago and some part of Africa as well. So I think the Herzog of Courland bought them or something like that.
Mm.
Okay, the next one.
Why did you not hold on to Trinidad and Tobago?
Sorry?
Why did you not hold on to Trinidad and Tobago?
I think the Hollandese took it away. Some fighting involved. Not really sure. Okay, so the next one is hockey. Hockey is, national sport #1 for sure. We really like to go to our live games. There's always lots of beer involved if you're watching. I used to hold a yearly abonnement. So basically, I went to all of the games. I found it.
Did you ever beat the Canadians in a match?
I don't remember. Maybe once, but we were not, like, we were good. We are on A level teams. So I know that we beat Germans a couple of times.
Yeah, that's not difficult. But I remember we bet the Canadians, I think 2 years ago, and we were so close to even win the award championship.
Oh yeah. Well, anyways, it's it's a lot of fun for me. So it was kind of a stress release, let's call it that way. You drink a lot of beer and then you scream obscenities out in the world, and no one cares because everybody's doing the same. So it's a kind of nice thing when you're a lady, you go to the event like that, and no one cares that you're rude as a truck driver, but because it's the event and this everything goes. But it's a good fun. I mean, I think our hockey team is less known in the world than our fans are, because I think it was a game with Russia, and they got somewhere a white horse to ride into the St. Petersburg, if I remember correctly. Given the fact that it's a symbol of Peter the First, it was a kind of here you go, you're served. One of the ways how they, after the win of the event or a game, they sometimes go and put flowers at the Russian embassy and things like that. And actually, in the World Championship in Cologne, it was that was in Germany. They changed the city flags to the Latvian flags next to the Cologne Dome, just to show who's in charge of the town at that time. So again, a bit passive aggressive. Usually the fans are not like football hooligans or something like that. They kind of try to be like, there's no fighting and things happening there. We are not really, wouldn't consider Latvians as aggressive people at all. But such a things like a little bit of shenanigans, let's go it that way. It's a part of hockey tradition. Okay. Internet and technology. So Latvia is, given the fact that we joined the technology part of it quite late, we are actually on the edge of it all the time, because, for example, Germany bank systems are quite old, and it's hard to move to.
No, of course you can mention it. No, we're in the middle age of internet. You're totally right.
Yeah, so basically but we joined this quite late, so we started from the different point in time, meaning our evolvement with it has been like if you compare someone who started like in 50s, whatever, meaning how's it called, millennials and X generation was the baby boomers. So what you'd have done is you work from the baby boomer perspective when it's harder to evolve from it. And we started with already evolving systems. We started from there. And given the fact that we are a small country and flat country, so we are basically, it's a Wi-Fi paradise. Wi-Fi is going to be everywhere. It's going to be free. And it's.
And how was it now during the COVID times? Was it also that people were always having high speed? Because I just remember here in Germany, we had some issues that being friendly locked down, suddenly people had a hard time to have conference calls because everybody being home using internet, the infrastructure was not made for that. And was there no issue at all in your country?
No, almost every household is directly connected to the optic cables.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's a small areas, small amount of people, small amount of household, and it's just how it is. And almost anything can be done over internet. For example, if I want to check my analysis, there's Latvia LV portal. So I log into with my bank, with my e-signature, whatever. There's a different kind of ways. I can always check what are my latest analysis coming from my doctors. I can check my status of my taxes. I can vote. Anything basically can be done on internet. I can apply for for what's it called, unemployment benefits. So keeping everything on IT level. So it's kind of fun. I actually built one of the biggest systems in Latvia for electricity providers. So that also any data can be given away. You can change things, update things, see the history of the usage. Like your meters sent, like electricity meters, they send all the electricity that you have used up directly into the system. Things like that.
And is there a lot of resistance, or is there a lot of debate about data privacy and how data is being stored?
No, not really. I mean, of course, everybody's like, you can't access, like the data access. Of course, it's something that, for example, as I said, your analysis from the doctors and things like that. The doctors have their own system, so they enter the data, and then they ask if you want to have it accessible for yourself without it. If you are, you're getting basically a checkbox from the doctor, and then, or from the laboratory, and then it's just shared into the Latvia LV portal. And then you can have access it with using your, as I said, bank or your e-signature. Everybody has an e-signature in Latvia, so that they can do everything online.
Interesting.
Okay. Then the next one is weird.
Let's freak out.
Yeah, we kind of, I think that's one of the things that I like about Latvia quite a lot. We, as a young nation, or a nation that came from oppression, like completely being equalized, I don't know how to call it, like everybody had to be the same. In USSR times, it was quite hard. If you were different than the others, I mean, you get punished for it, and that's something that when it broke down in the 90s, people just went into the completely different part of it. So they went to the complete acceptance. Unless you're hurting someone or something like that, you're a bit weird, but it's good. Like, I don't know, it's like me. I'm an IT specialist with education in art. I paint. I have another education as a chef because I just wanted to. I mean, a cook, and things like that. And everybody's just, oh right, yeah, that's your thing. You just do it.
And just to let Anuja and Christine know, Sintra will be also part of the Aviation Women's panel on 8th of July. So we have already some of the women here in this Virtual Happy Hour 3.0 session.
Daniel.
So yeah, we're kind of pretty inclusive people. There are still older generations, of course, who are a lot more rigid towards change, but I would say that is a lot less than here. I mean, here laws are, I don't know how to say, followed more closely than they are in Latvia. In Latvia, how to say, how to explain this? We don't like to follow rules blindly, so you will get a lot of why questions if you're saying yes, but this is the law, and you will not just, Latvians just don't go and do things just because someone says them to. They're just like, why? If you are able to explain them and they are able to accept this as a truth, yes, they will follow this as a rule. But otherwise, rules are more like a suggestion to any of the Latvians. So yeah. So we are still
like
one of
the Italians of the Baltics.
Sorry?
Sounds like you're the Italians of the Baltics, if rules are merely a suggestion.
Yeah, I would say that's very close to that. Yeah, we're still one of the last corners that got Christianized in Latvia. I mean, in Europe, and we are still a lot more following like the traditional public holidays and stuff like that is closer to the pagan ones than it's to the Christian ones. We don't have a lot of holidays that you have here. We have our own, and they're connected to the to the old calendars and things like that. We'll talk about it a bit later. And yeah, well, I think that this one is good. So we are people to look up to. Like, we have the tallest women in the world. With my 167, I'm considered tall here, while in Latvia I'm below average. And that's without heels. Okay, next one is Jūra.
But by the way, Latvian women like to wear high heels?
Yes, and we can walk on them. We're on icy cobblestones that our old town is covered in. So,
and I'm always asking my wife why she is not, and she said, "Oh, my feet hurt," and so on. So how are Latvian women manage the pain of their feet?
badly.
So you just suffer.
We suffer through it because, come on, your ass looks perfect.
Love it.
Well, you actually, quite a lot of women have the one shoes that they walk to and from, because Riga is really walkable city. So you have shoes that you walk to, and then you change into something high-heeled at work, or when you are moving to bar at the evening or a restaurant or something nice, and then you can change back. So big bag.
Any comment from Germany or Canada, Anuja, Christine, on that with the high heels?
So I used to be able to wear high heels, but I developed a lower back problem from sitting for my entire career. So I can wear, if we're getting into technicalities, I can wear wedge heels. That is to say, it's a solid block heel, no problem. But skinny spike heels, forget it. And also, having given birth, it shifts your center of balance for some people, and I was among those. So I decided that it's better to have back health than to wear high heels. But I will wear them when I was in the office. I would wear them in the office during the day, most of which I'm sitting anyway, and then change into flats to go home.
Yeah, so
Anuja, how is it in India?
I must say I've given up on them as well.
Indian women are not wearing any high heels?
Normally they wear, but I don't like high heels. I always like to wear flats.
Because?
So it's mostly depends on your husband's height.
Okay.
Ah.
I see.
Daniel, are you still wearing high heels, or have you given
No,
up?
I always
Not
wear
anymore.
flat heels. It's not because of his size. He's like 170 centimeters, so pretty tall guy. But I don't like high heels.
okay. So we have moved to Jūra, and it's we are a sea country that also affects a lot what we're eating. Meaning Latvia main food would be fish. So there's 500 kilometers of coast. So there's sandy coast and the rocky coast and the high coast. So different types of ones. And people are quite often, there's this walk that you can make. They do 120 kilometer coast walk. Like a lot of people just gather together and just go for a walk for some time as an event. We do like our outside time, so you just gather your friends, you have a couple of drinks on the way. It's fun. Okay, next one. Kapi or cemeteries. So yeah, I did mention we're a bit weird. So it's again a part of the pagan tradition. So it's there's no concept of the heaven as such. So it's kind of travels in between. And so every autumn in a specific time where there's an in-between time, and I think it's around Halloween for you guys. So there is like a cemetery festivals going on. So, sorry. Okay, so the cemetery festivals where the families are just gathering in the cemeteries, they're cleaning up the graveyards, they leave candles, and it's a kind of a gathering of the family. So everybody's meeting in the graveyard, and they go to some of the houses, and then they have a party.
Oh, interesting. So you make picnic at the cemetery somehow.
Well, you usually just it's kind of a reason to meet up, because like each town, it has several different times. So for example, my grandparents are from Gulbene, so we go from Riga to Gulbene at the festival time. We visit our relatives there, and it's a whole event just to gather the families together.
Yeah, I think even in Christianity there is. I mean, in our local church, I think it's around October last weekend on the Sunday. That Sunday is celebrated as for the souls. So, I mean, not like, but it's a church event. But at the same time, in the parish church, all the families who lost their ones during that year, they celebrated, and they offer some snacks and maybe some dishes, brought from their home, and they distribute in the house. I mean, in the church.
Yeah.
So we have something similar. Yeah, it's also there in Christianity.
Yeah, there's some kind of, this is a weird joke that I just remembered. There was this about what kind of nationality wife you want to use, to choose for your living, and the first wife, second wife, I don't remember, but the last one had to be Latvian, because it will take good care of your grave.
Okay.
So, garlic. That is that cramp in my feet. Garlic. It's used for everything. It's, I think, one of the most used spices, or how's it called? It's not a herb. Anyways, it's really used in our cooking, in a medicine. Like, you mash together garlic with honey. That's good for your throat. Things like that. So basically, just if you're feeling a bit off, mix together garlic, honey, and eat a spoonful every day, and apparently that somehow kills all the viruses. So at the time I thought that we're living in, I thought it's going to be something that you might want to know.
I love it too. Garlic is for me one of the best things in the world.
Yes, well, garlic bread, like that dry bread that you saw. So what we do is we slice it up, then you put it in the oven, make it crispy, and at the end you mix it up with a bit of oil and a lot of garlic, and that's like the most common used beer snack that we have in Latvia.
But this thing with the tea, of course, we use peppermint, ginger, and honey, but putting garlic in the tea, I will try it next time.
That's just, believe me, some of them is like putting raw garlic, stuffing it up your nose. That's like, you will feel it. It's not nice.
And you have also a chocolate with nut and garlic?
Yeah, well, there's actually a bar in Latvia that's called Tiploku bars, or garlic bar. And then everything that you have there, including cakes and ice cream, comes with garlic.
Okay.
And it's good. That's actually one of the places where I love to eat in Latvia. So, okay, we come to L, which is Ligo. So it's a pagan fest. We just had it here. So that's me in a picture with a crown and everything. and it's on 20th to 21st of June, but official holidays in Latvia is 23rd to 24th. So nowadays we have it a bit later because it coincides exactly to the winter solstice, which is having the same days as Christmas. It is a pagan festival, so it's just a party, the longest day and the shortest night, which is important because it's almost never dark during the time, and you have to wait for the sunrise. And it's a simple festival. You drink a lot of beer, you eat cheese and you roast meat, and you jump over the fire. There's songs that you have to sing. The special one. Oh yeah, garlic bread. It goes with beer every time.
Sorry. So it goes without saying. So when you mention beer, that automatically comes with garlic.
Yes, well, for sure. Yeah, that's if you have a place where to go, like it's a fertility fest. So like to bring good luck is people run around their houses naked, go for a naked swims, and what the young people tend to do is a tradition for them to do, young couples, is to go to the forest and look for a fern flower. If you know anything about biology, ferns don't flower, so it's usually just like it's an excuse to go and have sex in the woods. So there's a huge baby boom every end of February, beginning of March. Sorry, what?
So are the borders open again? Can we all travel to Latvia?
But you have to wait for a year. We just had the festival.
Sintra, I think we have to go back on scratch, start the recording, because you have to give a warning for all the audience. We have Catholic people maybe in this VHH. I don't know how we can handle this. Is everybody still okay? Good. Okay, please go on. So yeah, that's as I said, it's a fertility fest. So we have quite a lot of babies that are born in March, and beer has a lot to do with it, I think, as well. And then the next letter is L.
And garlic.
Flautis.
And garlic, yes.
Garlic for sure. So it's going with the flow. So yeah, as I said, lemons tend to be precise, and I can understand that by the length of my presentation. I know that I'm a bit pedantic in my ways, let's call it that way. But we do like I called it go with the flow, but basically letting it go would be a better word. So when the work days are over, the pastimes tend to be pretty much nature oriented, like hiking, like going with kayaking, mushroom picking. So we are not the nation that goes out and be very flashy and things like that. But with the amount of the nature that we have, like over 50% of Latvia is forest covered. We are kind of nature loving hippies in a way, and yeah, that's how we letting things go. Okay, music. So music is a really big part of our national freedom movement, of our understanding on who we are. I mean, as a nation who has, I think, more than 1.5 million folk songs which are recorded, music is a big part. It's a kind of a national history, because the writing as such came to Latvia quite late. So a lot of our history or understanding or belief systems are actually recorded in this folk songs, which are called dainas. and they are World Heritage, UNESCO Heritage Protection level. So as I said, it's more than 1.5 million of those. I think Indians have something similar. I don't remember how they're called. Badas, something like that. So yeah, basically it's a history that is preserved within the music. And yeah, I've just wanted to tell you about 3 of my favorite festivals in Latvia. So the one is
Sintra, is
yeah.
it the lyrics in the music, or is it the music as in the music, the tunes are expressing something?
It's both. There's lyrics and then there's music. So it's a huge amount of it. It's kind of teaching. Like there's a song, but it teaches children to not be mean, and it's kind of taught through the music and the words in it. Like my mother taught me right not to be mean in a way, not to kick dog by my feet or even the wood in the fire. Things like that. It's really simple, but it's a song. So they are sang to the children nowadays as well. They learn it in a school and everything, but they teach them what Christianity would be considered as what is allowed or not allowed, or what would come with that. But it came from our old type, old religion, and in this song form. That's hard to explain, but that's the best I can do. So the festivals, the first one on the top, it's called Laba Daba. It's a kind of hippie style festival. Everybody is liking it quite a lot, and it's a children friendly festival. So not too much craziness. Well, a lot of swimming and things like that, and it's a really nice vibe there. So that's one of my favorite ones, and actually that's where I met my husband. Number 2 on the right side.
You said you for 2 letters you were telling us about Latvians being crazy and weird and letting the freak out. And
yes,
now you're telling us that Laba Daba is your favorite because it's calm and mellow.
Well,
so is this a German festival?
No, I mean, okay. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to tell you this. I was just warned off that you shouldn't be telling us. But Latvian weird and mellow might be a bit more different. Like, for example, what you do there, you would see, I don't know, a lot of young ladies which are topless being put casts on them, so that after that their tits are being put out as sculptures in the festival territory. But it's calm.
Daniel, what are your plans for next summer?
I'm flabbergasted, but it's okay. It's we learn so many things in the virtual happy hour. I'm always amazed. So anyway, okay, so many letters. So I think we have hours to learn more here about Latvia.
I'm sorry. I will try to be faster.
No, it's all good. I have no meeting anymore today, and it's okay. For me, it's okay.
All right, and then on the right side, it's in Liepāja, my favorite city in Latvia. It's called Summer Sound, and that festival is a lot more flashy, a lot more people. But what's fun about it, it's on a seaside, because it's a seaside town. So everything is in a sandy beach, and it's really nice. You can go swimming and listen to the music, and then there's a lot of fancy names coming up, and the whole city is like packed with people. And yeah, there's because there's not that many actually that not many hotels. People just after they finish the day, they sleep there on the beach in the dunes, or they just take their sleeping bags and sleep outside. It's quite nice. And then the last one on the bottom there It's called The Sound of the Lake. And it's actually the festival where the stage is on the water and people just take their boats and go listen to the music while they're in the boat. So that's something different as well. But actually on the Sounds of the Lake, I have been only once. If you drink a lot of beer and you're a lady, it's a bit complicated. Okay, next one. It's Novadi or N. It's regions. But we have let's call. Given the fact of the history, some parts of Latvia used to be Russia, some parts were Polish, some parts were German. Each region has its own attraction. And this one is just something that I really like. It's called Rundala Palace, and it's has been called Versailles of the North. And it's a really, really beautiful castle to look at. But as I said, each one of the regions, which we have Latgale, Vidzeme, Kurzeme, and Zemgale, so 4 of them, they have something to offer. For example, Kurzeme will definitely be somewhere to go to get some smoked fish over the coast and things like that. And Vidzeme is nice because it has the highest mountain there, and each one of them is quite specific. So if you want to look into it, I just search for the regions of Latvia. There are probably a lot of tourism sites in Latvia will explain what to do in each one of them, and each one of them is different. Okay, back to food. So again, a hard letter to think about. It's N. I think a lot of people from abroad have issues with it. N as pronouncing it. It's Nyambik. In this case, it's yummy. I think the first 5 years, we were one of the very few countries where McDonald's, where they came in, was actually suffering losses because we are not used to that kind of food. I still am not used to eating pizza, or I like sushi because we are used to raw fish, but pizza is still a food that I can't really understand. For me, it's completely different. So
what is there not to understand? Give me a break. The simplicity is just mind-boggling.
Yes, but
it's almost as simple. It's almost as simple as a concept as swimming naked in the summer in the lake.
Well, that concept I do understand, but yeah, our food is different. Our food is built like when you take and go to Argentina, you will be served this huge piece of meat with a bit of salad on top, which is a concept that I don't particularly get as well. So for us, usually it's like this. You take something like rice or pasta or potatoes, whatever. It will be 1/3 of the plate. Then there's be meat or fish, which is going to be 1/3 of the plate. And there's going to be a salad or something like that, again, 1/3. And this kind of setting is always how we base our food on. So it's important to keep that balance. So for us, like this Argentinian way of meat with a little bit of salad, it's not a meal. It's something that you have to feed your dog and then your rabbit. So the same goes to pizza. I don't understand how you can eat that much.
I'm starting to contemplate my life in Latvia, and that happens during the summer, and I think I'm going to be a dog. I want to be a dog in Latvia one day, in the forests near the lake.
So pizza for me, it's just too much bread. Like I can eat a little bit of pizza if I have like the same amount of salad and then the same amount maybe a soup or something like that, I can understand. Eating just pizza as a meal is not a concept that I can follow through completely. So my small slice of pizza, salad, and the soup, that would be okay for me.
But you're not feeding pizza to your dog?
No, it's not good for dogs, is it? Anyways, yeah, about the picture. So on the right side, this is something that if you want, I can give you a recipe for. It's a soup that is also known in Belarus and Lithuania and Polish, and each one of us have a bit different version of it. So it's a cold beetroot soup. It's perfect for summer. It's made from what you would like. Here I use buttermilk, beetroot, a lot of dill, a lot of Schnittlauch, yeah, lauch, whatever. And then it's all mixed and the cucumber. So beets and cucumber are grated, and then they're mixed with this and a little bit of vinegar. You leave it in a cold, and you eat it cold with an egg chopped on top of it. It's a really refreshing soup for summer, and when there's 38 degrees outside, like it's hot here. And I'm considering this really hot because I have a strict belief that people over 30 degrees Celsius are actually melting. Then this soup is your lifesaver for having a bit of food. And then on the left side, that's something that I miss here, as we are not by the sea. I miss fish. So yeah, I wish there were more ways how to get fresh fish in Frankfurt. Okay.
Do you go on Saturdays? Do you go to the Kleinmarkthalle in Frankfurt?
I have been there a couple of times. On Saturdays, I find it really, really crowded and everything. But since I'm on a half times now, I went to Frankfurt a couple of about a week ago. And I went because it's usually I can't do it because my work hours cover at the same time, but you can now do it with your half days. And I had a really good time there. I didn't buy any fish because next.
Yeah, I think they're a bit poor on fish there, but they've got great cheeses and.
Yeah, it was really fun. I understand that there's this Wiener shop not far from there that has fish, but I'm yet to go there. So I will do that and check out if I can get something fresh in this area as well. Then there's next one is walnuts or eggs. So this is it's egg and egg coloring. It's really, really connected to the Eastern, which for us it's called the big days, meaning this is where the change starts, meaning the actual days are becoming longer than the nights. So for us, that's the tradition that we're having, and egg is used as a symbol of the sun returning. So we don't have chocolate eggs and stuff like that, but the event is to have eggs and color them in onion leaves and different kind of natural materials, and then you boil them in it, and they become colorful like that. And then you do egg fighting. So the family members fight, but basically one take one egg, the other one take other eggs, and then either the fat or thin ends had to be crushed, and then the winner take the egg of the loser, the egg that breaks.
And you keep going.
Yes.
And you challenge the next one.
Yes.
That was, now look, my father-in-law is Greek, and he would tell me now that the Latvians stole this tradition from the Greeks. Unless you tell me now that this was a pagan tradition in Latvia since 3000 before Christ.
I have no idea how old it is, to be honest. It just It was always there.
My problem is that my father-in-law, he's a very intelligent and smart man, very educated, and he made me believe that Greeks invented everything from politics, language, science.
You know what? We actually had like the amber trade with Greeks, like from 3,000 whatever years ago. I don't know who went which direction. Do you also do the egg giving? Like if the guy liked the girl on Easter, he was giving egg as a present for her.
You know what, Sintra? This is going to be an absolute privilege, pleasure, and it's going to be, I can't even explain. I will tell my father-in-law now that this egg nonsense tradition is Latvian. Because in November of last year, I went to Albania and I learned from the Albanians that the Greeks stole a lot of things as far as democracy, science, etc. is concerned from the Albanians. A week later, I went to Serbia and I learned that Albanians stole a lot of things from the Serbs. So now I can actually tell my grandfather, I can actually tell my father-in-law that, Georgios, sorry, neither science, nor politics, nor culture, nor language, anything originated in Greece. And if he then counters and says, well, but we do this thing with the eggs at Easter, I can say, sorry, my friend, wrong again. This originated from the Latvians. Yes.
Can you do a recording of this conversation, Marco?
I absolutely would love to have this recording. I have to translate it for him anyways, but yeah, fantastic.
Oh, it's just that I definitely have to look up where we came up with it. Okay, so we come back to the part that you enjoyed. So it's pliks or P or naked. So yeah, sorry guys, on the daily basis we are mostly fully clothed, but we're also a northern country, meaning the sauna and stuff like that. It's a natural way. It's a cleaning way. It's a spiritual way. So running around naked is not considered a very bad thing to do. So we are not prudes, and yeah. It's a normal thing, or the state, like the natural state of us in sauna would be naked, like here when you go to sauna, and I do. You don't dress up really for it, right? It's not healthy. Well, yeah, my mom would tell me that wearing a bathing suit in sauna is unhealthy. So. Okay, the next one. It's Riga's Melnais balsams or Riga black balsam.
This is a killer.
Have you tried it?
Once, and I brought it here to our house party. Everybody was laying down after drinking it. It's really a killer.
Yeah, well, we believe it to be medicinal. Also, during the COVID state, so if the doctor says you have to stop drinking, it's kind of like, but this is medicinal. And also, like, it's a known way of how to defrost the tourists in Latvian bars when they come to visit us.
Yeah, it works. I can absolutely confirm it.
So yeah, the usual way of drinking it, like you can drink it in the shots, but we drink it in like a shot, and then the hot blackcurrant juice, and sometimes maybe an orange in it. It's a hot cocktail. It's really good for cold winter days, and yeah, I like it quite a lot.
Maybe you, before you start to talk with your father-in-law, maybe you share 1-2 sips of this black balsam, and then he's in a good mood, and then you start talking about these eggs.
The eggs and well, he's going to counter with that because he keeps telling me about whenever I visit him, he says, "Do you need an aspirin?" An aspirin, in his terminology, is just an acronym for a glass of ouzo. So he would probably say that the black balsam is just aged ouzo that the Latvians stole from the Greeks.
I
They stole from the
agree on
Amber
that,
3,000 years ago.
No,
Is it stronger than wine and beer? What is the percentage of alcohol in this drink?
I think it's 43% or something, but it's not the alcohol that is there. It's like it's made from I think 17 or 27 different kind of herbs. It's really, really potent in taste. It's like Jägermeister on drugs.
Yeah, something like German Jägermeister.
No, the problem in this thing is it's so delicious. You don't taste the alcohol. It's easy. It's like a chocolate cacao and blah blah blah. You drink it and suddenly you realize that your tongue is a bit, let's say, it's going in a different direction than you want to talk, and then you realize, okay, it has some alcohol in it, but then it's too late already. Then it's too late.
But if you don't want to drink it as an alcohol, but still want to enjoy the taste, nowadays there's a candy and the taste of it. So it's a chocolate filled with these herbs and everything. Like it tastes like alcohol, but there's no alcohol in it.
But
it's
Sindra, I have to mention, I don't know whether you have read the fine print of this Virtual Happy Hour 3.0. Usually, the presenters always have to send something from their local country. And my big hope was that you're going to send every attendee a bottle of balsam, of course.
Well, I would go broke. but yeah, actually, by the way, if you want to, I know that, well, there's a blackcurrant one. This one is original one, but there's a blackcurrant one, which I actually prefer. And you can get them on Amazon. I have ordered them quite a few times during the winter.
Marco, we should maybe not do a wine tasting. We should do a black balsam tasting.
Well, you don't have to ask me twice. Yeah, and I think we could combine it with a summer in Latvia.
Well, it's a winter drink. Summer drink in Latvia definitely is beer.
Yeah, but it gets a little colder when you are swimming naked in the lake, so you might have balsam.
Yes, after that for sure. Okay.
So earlier you said rules and regulations are just an orientation and indication, and now you're so strict and say in summer we drink beer, no balsam. So
no, I'm not saying that there's a rule about it. I'm just saying that we usually do drink a balsam more in the winter.
Okay, so you're also flexible on that. Okay,
yes, good. Definitely. Okay, the next topic is a stevete, or a woman, which with respect to the next week's meeting that we have, I wanted to tell you about Latvia, where we have 55% of women in Latvia, given the, I think, loss of the last wars and everything. So it is kind of woman-powered country, let's call it that way. And about 65% of Latvian women have higher education, when only 35% of men do. And when it comes to the doctorate degrees, then 54% of the doctorate receivers are women.
But I think that is that not the highest figure of proportion females to males is in Russia, isn't it? Because that's what I heard, that there are 7 women on 1 man in Russia. That's why there's such a huge social pressure on women to find a man in Russia. That's not the same in Latvia.
I don't know. Never had an issue, but. What I'm saying is, it's usually when it comes hard is because the men die out faster, but based on stupid decisions. So with an age, it becomes the discrepancy. Like on my age, which I'm almost 40, is the difference is small. When it comes to the later ages, then the discrepancy is getting bigger, because women are leading healthier lives. They're working less dangerous jobs, given the higher education and everything. So that's where the proportions are getting out of the whack. So it's a kind of thing. So yes, and we had she's the picture of the lady. She used to be our president for 2 terms. She's one of the best politicians that we ever had as a president, in my opinion. And she's one hell of a lady. She's a wartime kid that was sent out, or their parents ran out of the war in Latvia, and she grew up in Canada at the end. And then she, after the renewal of the Latvian Republic, she came back and became president, and the first female president of Latvia. And she was amazing in what she did. She speaks, I think, speaks 4 or 5 languages, and she had this, or has this personality about her, like how she was talking to the other politicians and presidents of the other countries, that was so composed and so beautiful. So she's a hero of mine, so I thought I'll put a picture there. But yeah, we have a quite high number of the power women and women in lead, let's call it that way, in Latvia. So it's let's say there's still some glass ceiling when it comes to it, especially in politics and stuff like that, and sometimes a bit of talking down, like the guys would say, just on the crazy mood, whatever. But most of the women are taught to be strong and are not expected to be treated or act differently as a man. So yes, here in Europe, when I'm being a bit, how to say, loud mouth, I could feel the difference between me talking up at home and me talking up here to the management and stuff. So
will we put also a good topic for the 8th of July?
Yeah, we can discuss it.
And interestingly, your president was also having her term from 8th to July to 8th to July. Have you seen this?
Yes. So good. The next one is chocolate. We do like our sweets, meaning we do like our pastries, we do like our chocolate, and the brand of chocolate which was the most famous one during the whole USSR stage was our chocolate, which is called Laima. Laima is Latvian goddess of fate, and Laime is another word which is happiness. So it's just a name that I wanted to explain. And yeah, the Laima chocolate clock was put there as an advertisement for chocolate in, I think, some 100 years ago, maybe more. And it's where young couples who goes for a date meet up to get, because of the name, Laima and Laime, they are having the first dates talked or agreed on to meet there in Riga. And yeah, there's now, it's still one of the most famous chocolates. It's usually the dark ones that they are, but now they have a different kind of ones as well. And there's now a lot of new types or artisan chocolates that are there. And chocolate is still one of the most popular way how to say thank you. The other one, of course, being flowers. But for example, it's very common to say thank you to the doctors in Latvia after they treated you with and doctors started putting signs on the door saying, "Doctor does not drink flowers." Just a note. So to say thank you in some other way, because they were just getting a lot of flowers and nothing what you can do with hundreds of flowers a day. So the next one is Tautas or folk costume. So again, that's me in the costume dancing. Somewhere in Italy, if I remember correctly. But they're all quite now new fashion brands that are coming up with in Latvia. I'm not really a lot of fan of those. There are a couple of ones that are really, really beautiful, especially winter clothes. But at least most of the Latvian women would have a folk costume, at least one at home, that is worn in special kind of occasions, like, as I said, for Ligo it's tradition to wear your traditional costume and things like that. I don't have one here in Germany because I don't go to such events here because they don't exist, but I do have one back at home in Latvia. Okay, next one is urban, urbans. So the capital Latvia of Latvia is Riga. This is where I'm from, and it's one of the weird things about Latvia. It's a waterhead, I think, called. Half of the population in Latvia lives in Riga, meaning people consider, when they talk about things, they would say Riga and countryside. None of the other cities matter much. It's Riga and the countryside. So when you go there, Riga is definitely the point where you spend most of the time in. It's a quite beautiful place. The top picture, it's St. Peter's Church. And then on the right side, it's how's it called? I think it's called Blackheads, but it's also the trades union, German trades union house there. And we have a lot of Art Nouveau buildings, which are absolutely my favorite. I think it's considered the biggest collection in Europe. So these on the bottom ones, that's you would know them as Jugendstil or Art Nouveau buildings. So it's a quite beautiful place to be and just look around if you love the architecture. But for me, the best part and what I miss here is because similar as for Wiesbaden, the center of Riga is completely car-free, meaning you can walk, there's cafes on the streets and there's tourists hanging around and things like that. And there are really just, I think, 2 or 3 high-rises, and they are outskirts of the town. So the city itself, I think mostly the whole city is 5 stories high, so it's a pretty wide city and place where just to walk around. I think German cities give me the same vibe mostly when you go to the older parts of them that went bombed out and things like that. So it's quite a nice thing to look at. And then water. Yes, Latvia is a wet country. Let's call it that way. We are swampland. We are there. I think about 5,000 lakes. There are rivers. So one thing that we don't miss, and what I know there's an issue when you go south, is the water. There are quite a lot of things that we like to do, like fishing, and lakes and water cannot belong to anyone. So also what is called a rope zone. So if you go down with a kayak down the river and you want to stop, make a fire and sleep the night, if you stay within 25 meters from the coast of the river, you're allowed to do so, of course, with all the precautions and everything, because no one can own the river coast or no one can own the sea coast. It's not allowed to build on any of those. So it's a kind of common thing that we all own. Of course, you have to be responsible about cleaning up after yourself, and some of the owners of the nearby land actually make a special places where you can stop and park your boats and spend the night. because they don't want them to, or people to stop everywhere. It's rather that they have assigned place for it. So spending a night on a water, it's quite a thing to do, especially when you catch your own fish and then you grill it on a fire. And the most important thing, as you start doing this quite young, and sometimes with your classmates, and it's a way to get away from your parents as well. Okay, then the V, which is Ventos Romba, which is Ventos waterfall. It's just it's a waterfall which is the widest one in Europe. It's not too high, it's just a couple of meters high, so it's quite nice in the summertime to stand under it. But it's really, and you can go on top of it walking over. It's a tourist attraction, especially in the springtime, because the salmon travels up the river, so you can see the fish flying over it. Something to do. And then
how far is this from Riga?
About 150 kilometers. But it's really hard to, like, I think furthest point in the whole country from Riga is 280 kilometers. So. And then it's Valoda, or language. I don't know if you can see properly, but the purple ones are Latvian and Lithuanian. We are always being asked if our language is common or close to the Russian, and no, we are not. We are a completely different language group. Latvian is actually closer to Germanic due to our historical connection, and Lithuanian to Polish due to their historical connection. But they're considered one of the oldest languages in the European language group. Lithuanian is actually the oldest one. This is what they think the proto-language or the Sanskrit have sounded like all those years ago.
Wow.
Okay, and then Z, or Zils, which is blue, or Zalsh, that is green. And the first things are the cows, which I keep on telling people there are blue cows.
I only know purple cows because these are the cows of Milka, but blue cows I've never heard.
Yeah, so these ones are living apparently in some houses, but usually they're wild ones. So there are blue cows in Latvia, which the legend tells that they came out of the sea and started living in the forest. But yeah, I had to put the picture in because no one ever believes me that such an animal exists. And then the green one is we have been ranked as the second greenest country in the European Union, and we have been in the last 20 years going through the afforestation phase, meaning the forest coverage of the country is actually growing then instead of reducing. Yeah, so I think now closing to 60% of the country is forest. And the last one, so the word žal means sorry or pity. But yeah, just that's the last slide. Wanted to say thank you for patience. You listened through the whole alphabet. It's a long one.
Zintra, it's really, I don't know, how much time did you put into the preparation of all of that?
I don't know, a couple of hours.
It's really amazing. I would say, first of all, it's really the longest presentation, but also so much information and so many learnings. I'm really amazed. I'm always amazed about the creativity of the people, and every country presentation is something new and another evolution. So I like very much this concept of alphabet. Now, Christine, I don't know, is maybe feeling under pressure because she agreed to make a Canada presentation. We are also trying to convince Anucha to give a Germany presentation being an Indian. So, but Sindra, really, you've blown me away.
Absolutely wonderful, Zindra. We can very proudly say that we know A to Z of Latvia. So it's beautiful.
I thought that this is one of the things I think Latvians tend to be thorough. Meaning, if I'm lazy I'll say I'm extremely lazy person, but if I plan to do something, then I'm trying to do it good.
Absolutely.
I think that's exactly the key for everything. If you're passionate about something, you don't feel it as a work, as an effort. You just do it, and I can feel the passion for your country. That's why it was like this. And maybe if you have to code something and put some new developments and so on, then of course you're passionate for that too. But I think your country, that's something you are very proud about.
Well, definitely. I mean,
it's for laziness.
Sorry?
Is there a passion for laziness?
Definitely. I mean, that's what is all behind like this, because you never, like, I would never pick up and do half job, because means later on I have to fix it, and that I hate more than actually doing it properly at the first time.
Yeah.
So your laziness is an excuse for being thorough and diligent.
Yes. Oh, we have this saying, and also part of the Latvian folk songs, that half done job is worse than not done at all.
Very true. Very true.
So.
Which reminds me of a saying that that we had when I did an apprenticeship when I finished high school, working in hotel and restaurants, and there the saying was, proper preparation is half the work done.
Yeah.
It's the reverse of what you're saying. Or not the reverse, it's like looking at it from a different angle.
Yeah, so but it's an addition to that.
Better prepare properly, because then the actual job is only half as tiring and half as difficult.
Well,
what makes also country presentations somehow pretty easy is because it's all about telling a story, and because everybody has experienced something in his country, so you're telling a lot of stories in order to speak about your country, and that's very thrilling for the audience. I think that's all about how to make a good presentation. Tell a story, and if you tell a lot of stories from your country, people are so amazed about it. And you were putting your personal pictures and here and there, and that's why it's very lively compared to some very dry statistics, and that's why I like very much these country presentations.
Yeah, it was fun actually making it, also because you kind of start thinking, what do you want to tell about it? Meaning, I don't think that any of you know that much about Latvia. It's like a puzzle box. So it's okay. So what do I enjoy about it?
I was I think 2 times in Riga, or 3 times. I liked it very much. Also the food and the atmosphere. Having meetings with Air Baltic, and so that's why I always had good souvenirs, and then bringing back the balsam to Germany, and so.
So what did you do for Air Baltic? Because I worked for them for 4 years.
Well, I was the product manager of their current, I think, ops control system, which they still have in place, and that's why we had some discussions there.
Oh, interesting.
I think meanwhile they were going with a Swedish supplier, if I'm correct.
Yeah, well, Swedish are quite a usual partner of Latvians. But,
Yeah.
we have also, oh, that's another story. Like Latvians used to be a kind of a Viking country, let's call it that way. But they were not calm in a way, like especially the people that lived on a coast. So wars between different kind of tribes, including the opposite Vikings, which are Swedish, were quite common. So the Vikings on the Sweden side had a prayer which said, "Please save us from famine, from plague, and from Coronians," which are my tribe actually, Portlandians. So they were pretty how to say, bloody history before 11th century, and even after that with all the crusade wars and things like that.
And how is
Which
COVID-19
is a little similar to what we have in German.
Sorry,
we
what?
have this saying in German, this prayer in German, which is "Hüte dich vor Sturm und Wind" und Deutschen, die im Ausland sind, which is beware of storm and winds and Germans in foreign countries. So our hatred or fear seems to be more inward focused than towards other neighbors.
For us, if you meet a Latvian somewhere else in the world, it's a reason for a party, because there's so few of us that I had such a night in Dubai where I used to live, partying New Year, because there were guys coming back from Afghanistan that traveled through Dubai, and they were Latvians, and they actually came into the bar where I was partying with my friends, and I had I danced whole night long with the guys from Afghanistan. I was like 24 that time. Anyways, that was you hear Latvian, that means you have to talk with them.
Was there
how
balsam involved
in Latvia?
in the dancing? Was there balsam and a lake involved?
No, it was a seaside bar. Lake was not involved. It was Dubai, so you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So Sindra, is COVID-19 a big topic in Latvia?
We had, I think, 1,000 something cases altogether, and 36 people died.
So well contained.
Wow.
It's at the moment we don't have any new cases. Everything's open and working normal until something happens on a second wave. I know that the government has issued a rule that our state firefighter and whatever center has to set up the system of quick reaction, basically to warn the people if something is changing, meaning that the masks needs to go on. We have a problem. Also, the government, with the help of the freelance, like the developers, just put their time in for free. So they developed the app which allows you to know if you have been closer to one with the symptoms for more than 15 minutes. So after the event, hello?
Yeah, we have similar thing in Germany now.
Yeah, so that app is going to let you know you have to isolate yourself.
Good. So big thank you for that. I think everybody is amazed, and yeah, looking forward to the 8th of July, because I'm already seeing only women now in my picture. In all women's panel. I'm very much thrilled about. Yeah, Marco, you have no seat on that.
No. I'm looking forward to the 21st of June, 2021, when we are at the lake in Latvia. Daniel, you and I.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much for the patience.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had fun.
Thank you.
Have a good
Yeah,
night.
thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.